There's nothing I love more than being moralized to by bigots, especially international bigots. And so, not too long ago, just a few days ago, I was breaking down the results of the Brexit. And I explained from my point of view that I kept admitting was an outsider's point of view on Britain's possible leaving of the EU. And I said some of the reasons why people were voting to leave. And one of them that I don't think is too controversial is that there was a lot of opposition to immigration from people from the EU and from outside of the EU coming into the UK. And so some of that was intra-EU work immigration, and a lot of it was people from the Middle East and North Africa, refugees from Syria amongst them. And I didn't think that was too controversial, considering that the Leave campaign was officially campaigning based on that Nigel Farage himself was sharing posters talking about refugees streaming across the borders into the UK. But despite that, despite the fact that everyone acknowledged that was a part of it, everybody in response to those videos was tweeting me. A lot of the people who were in favor of Leave, whether they were in the UK or whether they were Americans, saying, "Why are you calling us bigots? Why are you saying that it's xenophobia? How dare you imply that any Brit would vote based on that?" I will acknowledge once again, I did not say, and have never said, and don't believe that that's the only reason people voted for it, or that that's the main reason that people voted for it. And yet the bigot shielders, the bigot deniers, flooded my comment section, and by the way, the dislike percentage on that first Brexit video, by implying that I'm another goddamn lib claiming that there's racism and bigotry going on. And now you look at the news coming out of the UK, or you spend 90 seconds on Twitter, and you realize that, of course, I was onto something, since I was only telling people what was blatantly obvious. There has been a wave of hate crimes across the UK in the wake of the Leave vote winning. And why? Because emboldened bigots who do not make up the majority of the Leave campaigners, but are certainly a large enough group, have been so excited about the prospect of the law changing and the UK leaving the EU that they have been roving around and beating the crap out of people that either are immigrants or that they simply think are immigrants. And so look, I could share any number of different cases. These reports have been widespread over the past couple of days. People who simply look a little bit different, who don't necessarily look like Pierce Brosnan, have been beaten, laying in the streets in pools of their own blood. There have been reports of hate crimes, non-violent in nature, like people driving by people who look like they could be Indian or North African or Middle Eastern, yelling, "Leave, leave, leave, out, out, out." Simply talk to some people in the UK, and it's almost certain that they will have experience of this either first or second hand. And by the way, if you'd like to experience it somewhat directly, simply follow some of the people who have been tweeting enthusiastically about the Leave vote winning. And I don't need to make the case to you that they're bigots. They will do so with their tweets. The level of happiness about throwing people out of the country, which that wasn't even a part of the Leave campaign. The whole thing, at least in terms of the xenophobia, was to stop more people from coming in. But they seem to think that now, like with Trump, they're simply going to round up everyone who doesn't look like Ricky Gervais and throw them into the channel. They seem to believe that that's the case, that that's actually what's going to happen. And I am not simply saying that that's what they think. They are saying that that's what they think. And this is the thing that's so frustrating. Look, you can't allow just a couple of people on Twitter to shape a narrative for you. I acknowledge that, and I try to make sure that in my reporting, I don't allow a couple of people who are happy about something to make me think that it's a movement. But this is not a couple of people. This is literally trending on Twitter right now. And to have people who don't care about the reality, who don't care about what's actually going on, or what people are actually thinking, tweeting to me about how I'm just trying to see racism everywhere. No, I was trying to see in advance of this that Britain was going to be smart enough and confident enough about the future to shout down and shut down the Leave vote. Okay, that's what I was hoping for. Okay, I don't go looking for racism, but unfortunately, all too often, it is there because there are racists in the world, whether in the US or in the UK. And all of these videos about the Brexit, they're not me as an American bragging about how much better our society is. They're me as a person who's concerned about humanity talking about the major issues that shed light on the human condition. We do it in America, we do it in the UK. And when there are similar strains of thought that weave between US and UK bigots, okay, I'm not going to be scared to identify that for you, okay? The actual cowards are those who are hiding behind, oh, it's just about sovereignty, that's all it is. You in the US, you wouldn't know anything about what it's like to have laws passed from people that have never even been to your state and who live thousands of miles away. Yeah, the US doesn't have any experience with that. We don't have 50 different formerly sovereign groups of people living in widely disparate climates and cultures, being ruled over by politicians who the vast majority of which, far over 90% in every single case, don't live in your state and congregate in the US and pass laws that affect every American. Yeah, we don't have any experience with that. You know how far it is from LA to DC? Real far, okay? You can go through a lot of different types of climate and culture and all that shit. Different restaurants too. And they pass laws that affect us, okay? And I'm not screaming all day about sovereignty, because that's the way the system was set up. And that's the way the EU is set up, and it has massively benefited the UK up until now. I realize that I got off from the hate crimes into a broader discussion about the Brexit, and I'll try not to do that, okay? Even though it's not going out of the news anytime soon. But this is just what's going on. I want you to look this up for yourself. You don't need to trust me. In fact, don't trust me. Whether you like me or not, don't trust me. I want you to just type in UK Brexit hate crimes, and you see if reputable sources come up. You can ignore everything that I've said, but I want you to look it up, and I want you to see what is happening in the UK now that the people who got what they wanted have won. What are they doing in their jubilation? Okay? I'll leave you with that.